Well, good morning. It is April the 20th, 2026, and straight from the highly caffeinated studio, this is According to Willie B, and I, yours truly, am your host for the next half hour. And guess what? I am finally getting past this whole pneumonia thing, so the voice is feeling stronger today. I hope that we won't have any coughing spells or anything like that. I can't rule out word salads, but, we're going to try. But I just drag you along, eat with me, and we'll just go through this adventure. As you know, we're in a 4-part series where we divided up the country into 4 sections and talking about where real families travel in 2026. And today we're going to look at the Midwest. We've talked about the Northeast, the Southeast, and now we're going to talk about the Midwest. And then next week, we're going to talk about the West and all that other big places over there and break it all down because there's a lot to unpack over there. But today, we're going to look at the Midwest. You ever notice something about travel talk these days? Everybody online is headed somewhere expensive. Everybody is on social media, is on a rooftop, holding a drink, watching a sunset, and music playing in the background like life is a perfume commercial. Meanwhile, real families are in the kitchen looking at prices, checking vacation days, wondering if they can take the kids somewhere fun without coming home financially injured. And in 2026, more and more families are figuring something out. The smartest vacations in America might not be on the coast. They may not be on a beach. They may be just right smack dab in the middle. And tonight, we're talking about the Midwest, so let's dive in. Let's be honest. The Midwest doesn't flex. It doesn't scream for attention. It's not standing on a yacht. It's not posting beach selfies every 9 seconds. The Midwest is more like that dependable friend who quietly owns a paid-off house and quietly grills perfectly every weekend. Never burns anything. It's reliable, comfortable, affordable, and secretly doing better than people think. That's the Midwest travel right now. And families are realizing maybe we don't need chaos. Maybe we don't need overpriced tourist traps. Maybe we just need to spend more time together. Maybe we don't need to spend $7,000 to prove we love each other. Maybe we just need somewhere good. So let's take a look. Let me tell you what's happening. The average family is smarter now. They've been through inflation, higher food prices, hotel sticker shock, parking fees that feel disrespectful, and the airline prices that make you stare at the screen like, this is for economy? So now families are asking better questions, not what looks impressive online, but instead, where can we go and have fun and make memories and still pay the electric bill? The question leads a lot of people straight to the Midwest, believe it or not. Let's start strong. Let's talk about Wisconsin Dells. If you have kids, this place is a tactical strike. Water parks everywhere. Indoor water parks, outdoor water parks, slides, lazy rivers, arcades, mini golf. Enough energy burning opportunities to have your children asleep before 9 p.m. That alone has a value, and parents know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes the vacation isn't about relaxing. Sometimes the vacation is about exhausting your kids so that you can get some relaxation. But either way, Wisconsin Dells understands the assignment. You got right up the road, not too far, you've got Sandusky. Now, what is Sandusky? Well, that would be home to Cedar Point. What is Cedar Point? Well, if you're a roller coaster junkie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Excuse me. When I say Cedar Point, because they say, well, if you got teenagers, that's the perfect place to go. Let me tell you, as a grown man, I'm a roller coaster junkie, and Cedar Point has the heavy artillery of roller coasters. They have roller coasters that are taller, faster, wider, stronger, the whole nine yards. I mean, they do roller coasters. They are the roller coaster aficionado. And that just creates lines full of excitement. And then you've got that one parent holding everyone's bags because they don't go upside down. And you know who you are. Now, trips like this become family legends. Remember when Dad lost his hat on that ride? Remember when Mom lost her sunglasses? It's things like that when you go on some of those crazy rides. And that story gets told over and over and over for all the years. And that's what matters, is building those stories that are going to be retold. Because it's those little memories that get built into the trip that at the time just seem, just run-of-the-mill things that just go on vacation. But it's those little nuances that happen that get talked about over and over and over, and it keeps that memory of that vacation alive. So let's talk about another one. And this one's probably not going to surprise you when I mention it, but I think sometimes we don't look at this next destination quite as what it truly is, and that's Branson, Missouri. Now, some people think that's a sleeper pick because Branson is one of those places that people joke about until they go. And then they come back and they say, you know what? That was actually really cool. Because let me tell you, they've got all kind of comedy and variety shows for families. They've got, the Dolly show. They've got just all kind of musician shows, magic shows, comedy shows, you name it. It's just they pretty much are able to tap into every genre of entertainment for a family. So, and then you got lakes. I mean, they've got lakes up there. Don't forget, if you go, to make sure that you ride the duck, because in that Table Rock Lake, that is one of the things that you cannot miss, is to ride the ducks. And that is, if you're not familiar, that is that amphibious military vehicle that they've turned into basically a water bus, where they drive you around town. The one in Branson is really cool. It drives you up in the mountains, and they tell you some stories about some different things. And then they go down this road to the lake and drive right into the lake. And it's about a 30-minute little ride out on the lake, and it is super cool. So you can't miss that if you go. That is like a Branson thing to go. I know they have ducks in different areas of the United States, but for me, I think the ducks in Branson, Missouri are basically the aficionado of riding the ducks. They have set the bar, and I think they do the best. I've ridden them in other places, and to me, Branson comes out top notch. And then you've got other attractions. You've got a theme park there. There's fishing there. I mean, there's just so many things to do that covers all of the different likes and dislikes of different family members. Everything from the grandparents are happy, the parents are happy. It works for multiple generations. And this is really what Branson does well. The kids are busy and they're happy, and the grandparents, I mean, so this is rare to keep that wide of a generation gap happy in one spot. And that, my friends, is vacation gold. Now, understand that Branson can get expensive in some areas when you start talking about going to a lot of different shows. If you go to theme parks, things like this. So, but it really allows you, because they have so many different things. There's so much outdoor activity and indoor activity, so to speak, that you can kind of make a combo trip there and really budget it out well and not break the bank, and keep everybody, literally from the toddler to the grandparents, happy all in one trip. And that is rare to do. So let's talk about something a little further up. Mackinac Island. Now, Mackinac Island is definitely a place if you need to rest and relax. This is the place to go. No cars. It's an island. No cars. Let me repeat that. No cars. Horse carriages, bikes, walking, fudge shops, ice cream shops. Yeah. And the food is just phenomenal. And then you've got the historic charm of the towns and you got fresh air. You just have some inner peace. And to be honest, you know what many families are really craving right now? Not more stimulation. And why is that? Because we're stimulated all day long by social media and our phones and computers, and so it's nice to have a place that you can just go truly get away from all of it. So no more, not more stimulation. Less is more kind of scenario. Less noise, less rushing, less screens. Mackinac feels like stepping backward in the best possible way. Because sometimes nostalgia is luxury. And then you've also got Traverse City. Now, this is where families start feeling fancy without the fancy bill. Now, why is that? Well, you've got lakes, you've got lake views, you've got beach time, and if you like cherry, they have cherry everything. So if you want a piece of cherry pie, they'll have no problem serving you a piece of cherry pie because everything is cherry. And it's almost kind of like this area is the ice cream sundae of vacation because it has cherry on top. So there you go. There's that. You got scenic drives. You got nearby dunes. Good food. Absolutely phenomenal good food. Relaxed energy. And you know those trips where nobody argues much? Well, Traverse City feels like one of those places. Not right up the street from that, you've got Door County. Now, what is Door County? Well, again, here we are, kind of same kind of area. You got cabins. What's more peaceful than getting a cabin and have everybody in a cabin? You're grilling out for the weekend. I mean, it's just a phenomenal rest and relaxation. We still have plenty of things to do. You got small towns that can be explored during the day. You've got water. You've got, your lakes, streams, and all that in the area. Coffee in the morning, sitting on the edge of the lake or the stream. Sunset at night, watching the sunsets. Phones face down on the table or just in the cabin, not even brought out. Real conversation. Real family vacation. A lot of people say that they want family memories. Then they book trips so busy that nobody speaks. And Door County reminds people to slow down. And in all honesty, isn't that kind of why we go on vacation? We're at work. Everything is hectic. Life is hectic every day. The phones are ringing. We're constantly on social media. We're just all of this craziness. And then we want to take a vacation to get rest and get away from it all. So if we're trying to get away from it all, wouldn't some place like Door County or Traverse City, wouldn't that be somewhere that you would want to go to truly get away from it all? Now let's talk the truth. So road trips are coming back. Why? Well, I think we know why. Because flights for 4 people can feel like a mortgage payment. I'm going to repeat that statement. Flights for 4 people can feel like a mortgage payment. It's ridiculous. So families are loading up the SUV. They're going into the store and getting snacks where you have all kind of snacks and maybe a cooler full of drinks, and you pack down the SUV and you're ready to go. But now don't forget, you got to have the phone chargers. You got to have some pillows. And of course, don't forget, you are going to have at least that one child asking the vital question, are we there yet? And yes, you may still be in the driveway when they start asking. But that's part of the road trip. That is part of the nostalgic road trip that we're missing today. This piling everybody and in a plane and flying them away, and it's everything's so busy, crazy, and there's 100,000 things going on every day. And yet you come back and you're so exhausted because you never got that chance to just, what happened to my vacation? It was there and it's just gone. But the road trips, that's tradition. Road trips create memories in the in-between moments. Think about that. Road trips create memories in the in-between moments. And it's, what are you saying? What are you saying, Will? In between what? In between everything. In between changing lanes. In between changing roads. In between gas station stops. In between the getting a motel at night. Whatever the case may be, you're creating memories in the in-between of everything that happens on that trip. Gas station snacks. You can't live until you have a bag full of gas station snacks. I think that was probably one of the most unique things that we had on our trip last year when we went to Canada, Niagara Falls, and all that. And every time we would stop for fuel, we came back with bags of snacks. And when you're traveling through different states, different countries, whatever the case may be, you're going to run into some very unusual snacks out of a gas station. And that alone can be the next conversation as you're going down the road. What is that? Where did you get? I didn't see that. What is that? What does that taste like? And you can see how that just turns into, it can be chaotic. It can be, man, I'd like to, if we see some place that has that again, I'd like to have some of those. And so, you have that. And don't forget wrong turns. Yes, I know we have GPS, but if you tell me for a second that Google Maps or any other GPS system doesn't lead you off on some kind of rabbit trail, I'm going to disagree with you, because trust me, GPS can get it wrong, and it does every now and then. Some of the best diners and restaurants you'll find are just strung along the nation's highways, just these random diners. And it can also create some of the best memories. And of course, there's laughing at nothing, just silliness going down the road. And that's real life. That is where we should be getting lost in, is getting lost in real life, getting lost in our vacation and into the moment of travel. Now listen, we're going to talk about the food for a minute. I wasn't going to let you go without talking about food. Never disrespect Midwest food, because comfort food is powerful. I'll tell you that again. I will say that all day long. Comfort food is powerful. My grandmother always told me, eat what sticks to your ribs. Well, unfortunately, that must be a curse, because everything I eat these days sticks to my ribs. And so there's that. There's cheese curds, there's barbecue. And while it's not our kind of barbecue, it is barbecue, and it is pretty darn tasty. Fresh pies, especially cherry pies, apple pies. I mean, come on. This is, I think, where when we talk about baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet, I think this is where the pies came from. Now, the Chevrolet may have came from the other side of the state, but I think the pies came from this area. And then there's fish. You've got the lake, so you got fresh fish. You talk about some huge breakfast served in some of these diners, and they're served to you by somebody who calls you hon. And that's hospitality. And when families travel, food becomes a memory. I tell you that all the time, that food is part of your memory. Food is going to be attached to your vacation memories, because I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody says, remember the spreadsheet? And I laugh at that. I pause and I laugh at that, because when we planned that 10-day road trip through Canada and all that area with Danny and Kelly, we had spreadsheets. Oh, good Lord. We had spreadsheets like you would not believe. We had spreadsheets to monitor the other spreadsheets, but it helped us plan everything out so that we were able to pretty much do everything that we had planned. We only missed out on a couple things. Yes, it was because of the spreadsheets, but we don't remember the spreadsheets. We just remember the chaos of creating those spreadsheets and trying to stick to them. And so that alone, but nobody remembers the spreadsheet. But we do remember the food and the entertainment and the sights and sounds and smells of that trip that spreadsheet created from all the planning. But they don't say remember the spreadsheet. They say, remember that place with the cinnamon rolls? Exactly. And you know you're on a Midwest trip when somebody says, and you can't make this up, you know you're on a Midwest trip when somebody says, oh, after bumping into you. And you're like, what did you say? Oh, it's OPE. But you'll hear them say that here in the South too. Somebody bumps, oh, sorry. And it's not really a word. It's just a Southern hospitality thing. But, you know, there could be a pontoon boat involved. And then Dad suddenly becomes a charcoal expert. And then Grandma says, this is nicer than Florida. And a kid wins a stuffed animal that nobody wants to transport home. I mean, that 4-foot stuffed blue dog with the red ears, I'm sorry. Where are you going to put that? But then, somewhere, someone is aggressively defending a local casserole recipe. So there's always that. But here's what real families want. And here's the truth that nobody says enough. Most families do not need glamorous. Here's what you do need. You need manageable, affordable. You need safe. They need enough fun to justify the money, and they need pictures worth keeping. They need moments that feel like life slowing down. And that's what many Midwest trips provide. So I'm going to give you some reality here. Social media can fool people. Everybody looks rich online. Everybody looks rested online. Everybody's smiling online. And then you talk to them privately and find out they overspent. They argued. They're exhausted. And they need a vacation from the vacation. Of course, I say that regardless of where I go. I always need a vacation from the vacation. That's just I like to say. Meanwhile, another family quietly rented a cabin in Michigan, played cards, grilled burgers, laughed all weekend, and came home refreshed. Who won? Exactly. You know what I respect? Families doing what fits them. This goes right back to that packing list. That packing list is a suggestion. Same thing with a vacation itinerary. Make sure that your trip fits you and your family. Don't chase trends. Not trying to impress strangers, not going broke for optics, doing what works. That's wisdom. And you know what? Wisdom is attractive. So we're real families traveling in 2026. Some are headed to the beaches, some to the theme parks, and some quite possibly overseas. But a lot of smart families, a whole lot of smart families, they're looking at the Midwest. They're seeing the lakes. They're seeing the cabins, the water parks, the roller coasters, the quiet town, the affordable fun, and room to breathe. And sometimes the best vacation isn't the loudest one. It's the one where everybody comes home happier. And that is according to Willie B. I hope you're enjoying this 4-part series. Please share this show with somebody if you know they're planning an upcoming family trip. Otherwise, I will see you again next week where we're going to talk about the West Edition. Big views, big prices, big memories, and we're going to break it all down. But don't forget, you got to caffeinate and conquer. And until I see you again next week, I appreciate every one of you listening, and have a great day.